Do you want to improve in your football, or do you want to help those that you serve improve in their football? In this next video, I will show you that if you stop falling for these three traps, the comparison trap, the knowledge trap, and the hype trap, you can improve in your football. Let's go. So guys, let's talk about what are the three traps, right? So if you were here for session 1, which we spoke about be, do, have, yeah? In order to have, you have to do. In order to do, you have to become the person for whom that role, that task is intended for, yeah? So when we are focusing on being now, yeah, I will focus on, there are three traps which you as a parent, you as a coach, or you as a player, maybe inadvertently have fallen for, right? So the first trap is the comparison trap. I'm going to share a story with you about a football player that I worked with as a coach a couple of years ago. Yeah, he was a young player when I was head coach at Ajax ABC team, all right, reserve team. Okay, so what happens in that team is that at the end of each season, normally we have to sit down as a technical team and with the owners of the club, and we have to identify which players have the potential to go up to the PSL team or to the first team. At that time, they were in the NFD. So because of the history of the club, they're well known for having given a lot of young players pro deals. So there was a mentality and expectancy that I should go up next. Yeah. So what happened over the years was those averages got bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, if you look at the global average, guys, the top clubs in the world, minimum at best or maximum at best, send between 2 and 3 players up. Not even every season. What they started doing was them sending 5 or 6 or 7 up. And what that created with the reserve team was an expectancy that every season 7 or 8 players have to go up. So what had happened was there was this one young player who I work with now, but back then he was a player, a part of my ABC squad, and he was technically he was better than all the other players, but physically he was not ready to go up to the first team. So why is this story so powerful for the comparison trap? Because when it came time to choose which players had to go up, I had to make the call to hold him back. But I intentionally made the call to hold him back because physically he was not prepared to handle the professional industry yet. But what had happened was, because of the environment that was created, parents and players started to compare each other's journey. So my son played with this boy from under 12 to under 14. So by default, if he goes up, I go up. And in professional football, that does not work. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, it does not work like that. So what happened was, when I had to make the call, his dad was upset. And I remember clearly, I had to spend almost an hour on the phone with his dad, explaining to his dad that comparison is the thief of joy, number 1. Yeah, I didn't say that in those words, but I explained to him why I'm holding his son back for that season. Because the move from academy football or ABC football to playing, pro football full time is a big move. But it's a big shift on the body from a physical viewpoint. Because from just practicing maybe 3 or 4 times a week, you now are a full-time pro. And not only are you a full-time pro, you are now in the company of senior pros that are hardened pros that have been playing for the last 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 years, even more. And they are conditioned to handle the intensity. You have the ability, but you still need to get to that point. Now, it is my job as a coach to make sure that when you make that step up, you don't, break down. Because what we see nowadays, for example, is because some players are pushed too early into that space, they, break down too soon. Yeah. So that is, it's important to understand that do not compare your son's journey to another player's journey. Do not compare your journey as a coach to another coach. Now, I know nowadays we see Pep and we see Klopp and we see all these guys, Jose, and we want to be like them. You cannot be like them. You can learn from them. You can take certain things from them and apply it to your way of being a coach and your style of play. Yeah, but you will never be like them. So the first trap, guys, do not fall for the comparison trap. Yeah, especially players. Your journey is your journey, and some players' journey is perhaps shorter. Some players' journey is longer, but each one has had a pathway set out for you. If you stay true to your journey and what you need to do, you will not need to compare yourself to any other player, because your goal is not my goal. Yeah, I might be a teammate of yours. You might want to just play in the NFD. I might want to play EPL. That's a lot long and harder to get there. So therefore, my process has to be harder. Yeah. So the first thought, do not compare your journey. Then the second trap that you do not want to fall into is the knowledge trap. Yeah. And by that, I simply mean whether you are a player, whether you are a coach, whether you are a parent, you do not, know it all. You do not know it all. Now, the reason why I say it, because for myself as a young player, yeah, as a young pro, I was a bit of a know-it-all. So I used to fight with the seniors. Right? Seniors used to tell me, do this, do that, and I always had an answer. And I had to learn the hard way. Yeah, I had to learn the hard way. That until you humble yourself and begin to learn. And sometimes learning, most times, is the most uncomfortable. Yeah, it is never comfortable to learn something which you know you have to improve in, but it's not something that you enjoy. Yeah. So an important point to understand that you need to submit to a teacher. You need to submit to a teacher or to teachers. Yeah. So even if you are a coach, submit to a teacher. Now, at this point in time, I'm an individual development coach. That means I work with players one-on-one. But in order for me to do what I'm doing, I need to learn from people, learn from someone. And what I have done over this last year or two is I have a group of 5 or 6 men that I intentionally surround myself with so I can learn from them. Now, they might not know that that's why I've asked them to be around me, or I always make sure that I'm with them, or I always phone them, or I chat with them. But the mere fact that I'm open to learning. Why? Because the more you learn, the more you can earn. Yeah. As a coach, the more you learn, the more you can earn. In another way of saying it, the more you know, the more you can pass on. But where do we learn? Learn from. Not from ourselves, because we don't know everything. Yeah. So do not fall for the trap in thinking that you know it all. Yeah. Submit yourself to a teacher or to teachers. Right. Then the third trap, guys, is the hyper trap. And that is another word for, social media. The social media trap. Now, there was a player who I coached, all right, a couple of years ago, also at Ajax. And there was so much on social media hype around it. But he was just, 16 years of age, 17. 16, 17 years of age. You are not a full-time professional yet, but you are being marketed and put out to the world, irrespective of how big you think your world is. You're being put out to your family, to your friends, and to fans that you are the next big thing. Do not fall for the hype trap, which is also big fish, small pond mentality. The quickest way you will break your players, their mentality and character, is if you hype them up. Do not put the cart before the horse. The horse always pulls the cart. Now, the journey to becoming a professional football player is a long and it's a tough one, but that is the best one. Because the journey when you are a young football player is the destination. The journey is the destination. So if you are overhyped at a very young age, you better hope and pray that you are prepared for the journey. Because the journey to become a footballer will test you, mentally, emotionally, yeah, and obviously from a physical side, a tactical side, a technical side. But we know that we very often neglect those parts, emotional, mental. And we think because of the hype that the young player got, he won player of the tournament at the Bale, or the Engine, or this cup and that cup, yeah. Because of that, he thinks he is a lot closer to being a pro. And when he hits reality, who's there to help him? The mom, the dad, you know, who? Yeah, coach, who's their club? So don't fall for the hype and trap. Yeah. So these three traps, if you avoid these three traps and you are aware of it, you have a chance as a footballer to acquire the right mentality and character for this journey. Also, as a coach, you will then understand what this journey entails and how you as a coach can equip yourself in order to help your players. Because some of you might be asking yourself, but I'm a coach, yeah, what has this got to do with me? If you're involved in development football from under 18 down, you have a massive role to play in this. Because what you make your players believe and think of themselves is very, very, very important. Yeah? Make them fully understand that they are unique, they are wonderfully and fearfully made as an individual player, yes, yeah, but do not let them compare themselves to the next player and compare themselves to Mbappe and Messi and on and on and on. Yeah. Also, make them understand that the more they learn, the more they are eager to learn and acquire, the more they can actually grow. But in order to do it, you have to grow. You have to learn more. You have to understand what this journey entails for a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 14, a 15, 16-year-old. Whatever age group you are in charge of, you have to become an expert at that age group. So that when you work with your players, you understand what they need from a human side and from a football side. Yeah? And then lastly, make them understand as well that this journey is not instant. This journey is one that is tough. It can be long, it can be a bit shorter. But when you are in development football, the journey is the destination. Because what they teach will teach them is priceless things like character, mentality, having the mental fortitude to actually push through. Push through, because that is what you need when you become a pro player. So, guys, I hope this blessed you, right? And please stop falling for those three traps. Right? There's a comparison trap, the knowledge trap, and the hype trap. Okay? Cheers, guys.